Hey there, monkeys. Grab that cup of coffee, kick back, and relax. We'll get started with a SITREP in just a minute. All right. Hey, welcome, folks. Mil-Spec Opsmic here. This is going to be your SITREP. It is 11/29/2023 as we get through the month of November. And we are coming to you live here from the Monkey Lounge here in the great state of Texas. And we're going to get into the deets, talking a little bit about a lot of different things. We're going to talk a little IRS stuff because there's something going on that we need to all be aware of. And I don't know that we are collectively talking about it. We should be, because they are weaponized, and the things that they are doing, it's almost criminal. I just got to show you, it's not good. And that is one piece. And of course, we're going to talk about weather warfare. I'm watching some stuff that just happened over the Black Sea. I've shown you in the past the things that have happened when they do something as simple as cloud seeding. We've seen it in Saudi over Mecca, Medina. I've shown it here over Texas in my area, where we've had softball size hail. We've had wind that was 70 miles an hour, and just insane weather. And this is all from just cloud seeding. You think, well, it's only supposed to just make it rain more or make it rain less. That's not the case. And so I'm going to show you some of that. And then also we're going to go look at some $75 million yachts out there that Zelensky has just purchased for him and his buddies on your good hard-earned dollars headed over to Ukraine. So we'll get into all of the deets on that. But let's do this. Let's jump over here to the mini board. We're going to start in Skyglass, and we're going to be looking at the skies. These are going to be your air refuelers that are up. Again, they tell a story. Notice they come down not all the way south to the border line, but pretty doggone close. We've got some stuff already activated in California, down in the Arizona side of the house, Florida, down near New Orleans, right? And then all up and down the East Coast. Just notice that. That tells you there are probably fighters out over the water, more than likely, because these guys are refueling out over the water. So, all right. And then Flashbang is on the move. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. Let me do this. I'm going to turn these back off. We're going to get a total roll up as I clear the traces that we can see. And we are sitting at, let's see, just under 200. So about 188 on screen. Now, keep in mind that I've already taken out 88, so almost 90 Tex 2s and 47 T38s. So there's almost 150 trainers up in the air right now. So so that'll give you kind of the lay of the land, the way we are today. It looks pretty active. It's starting off very, very active. But again, it's not quantity. It's exactly what is up, not, the volume of what is up. That's what really makes the difference. So when you see the air refuelers and electronic suite, stuff that is up, that's what really tells the story, okay? Because, like I said, you can have 150 trainers in that mix. That really skews that number. And if I were to just take a look at that, that's just trainers alone, right? So if you were to, let's just turn those off for a hot minute and then do a total roll-up, and you're at 340 aircraft up, right? So that looks very, very congested, very heavy. So Okay, so let's do this. We're going to get into the watch list. First and foremost, it is pretty active. There's 34 survey planes up, most of them in the Northeast and over Florida yet again. This right here, that's going to be an Intel plane down off of Southern California. And then we've got the Border Patrol folks, whether it's Texas DOT, U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, very, very active down at the border today. And then that, I don't know what that is actually, Rico something. Anyway, headed eastbound. And then let's see, there's all your sea of, well, you got a couple SAM flights. So there are 2 blue and whites that are leaving headed southwest, SAM flights. All right. So that's going to be dignitaries coming out of DC. Most of this is survey flights. I mean, these are all just chock full survey flights, right? Same thing here, survey flights. And you can see flying pigs. Yeah, they're in on it too. But yeah, they're doing surveys. And then there is Customs Border Patrol. We see that pretty frequently down south as well. And then we'll get a look over here at Europe and just to see if anything looks out of place or, you know, what's going on in the skies over there from our watch list perspective. Okay. Now, my watch list is up over 2,000 aircraft. So it covers a lot of the stuff that's pertinent to everyday surveillance from our behalf, looking at them. All right. So I see a lot of E3s. There's a little Russian bird that happens to be up, which we do continue to see that one that comes around the horn there and bypasses Israel pretty frequently. And again, E3s, a couple surveys. That is our unmanned drone. Yeah. And then let's see, that's a Lasai. It's one of your Brios doing a little recon there over the area. Got some R135s. Or sorry, that's a B703. 2 B703s and the G5, which is the Iron. Those are all Intel, basically gathering recon stuff. All right. Now, speaking of Intel, let's get into the deets on that. And just notice you've got one that rolls out of Austin, heads north up to what looks to be Rapid City and back. And then you've got some stuff going down along the Tucson area. That's normal. And then that, just notice that move coming out of the Panhandle over to Savannah, back and forth. Now we get to Europe, and this is where it gets really interesting. This is how you know the Russians are moving nukes, all right? Because there is a serious look at all, like the entire side, from Belarus all the way north, all the way south, right? They got eyes on what is going on down on the ground. And then notice the broken traces that come in and over the Black Sea, all right? Again, the Intel side of the house. All right, now let's look at the drones. Notice the stuff coming in and out of Southern California down towards Tijuana. Notice it runs down to the border in Arizona towards Tucson. It doesn't land. It just goes down, comes back up, but it runs that whole border. And then notice that one that runs out towards Utah, Salt Lake City. Okay. I just give you a little eyes on that. And you think, well, why, what are they doing with all this surveillance and intel over the United States and all these other areas? Well, they're looking at us, honestly. We get caught up collectively. They can say they're looking for the bad guys, but we're part of the data capture. That's how they loophole all of this. And then you can see the stuff headed into the southeast there as well. Then we get over to Europe, and then, of course, that tells a story. Really, really strange. You don't see anything from that perspective, and the drones headed north just breaking out over Romania and over the Black Sea. More than likely, those are going to be Q4s, higher altitude, a lot harder for the Ruskies to shoot them down. Like they could if they wanted to, but it's the little slow-moving Q9s that really are the ones that get messed with a lot. Okay, now look at this. Right here, notice that drone location. That's off the coastline of Lebanon, right? Beirut, probably looking into Syria, into the area where Hezbollah has been and is still continues to be, all right? They've quieted down a little bit, which is kind of strange. I'm just wondering if it wasn't because the rocket convoy that just got popped that was mismarked as UN coming from Iran. Okay, now, Graybirds. This is going to be your agency, boys. Notice that it's going off to the island off of Southern California. Very common. Also going to China Lake. All right. So that's taking engineers to and from the job. And then you notice this little trace, very hard to see given the color of my map. I'm trying to mark it with my mouse so you can see it a little better, but that is a broken trace. That's your agency, boys, headed over to Asia. All right. Don't know what they're doing, but they're up to something. Okay. Probably your deep staters. And then you can see it headed up to DC and then down into Tampa. And then I'm going to go over to Europe just to see if I had anything over there that I catch, little traces here and there. Don't see anything really. Nothing out over any of the Med or down into Israel or looking at Africa. I got nothing. So, all right, now let's look at the R135s. And you're going to see that they are coming out of the UK, out over the Black Sea. And then there's kind of that broken trace. You can see they don't want anybody to see them. They kill it. And then notice this too, right off the coastline, but it's not just, that's from Egypt all the way up to Lebanon, North Lebanon. So, and that's going to be your R135 aspects. All right. Now, over the CONUS side of the house, that's a very strange box. Honestly, that really square box. The only other one I've seen just fly a very similar pattern to that was actually NOAA. And I'll show you that in a second. Something down over Vegas. Looks like they are looking closely at that area. Again, R135s. We'll get over to Asia, and we'll take the long way around because this thing only goes right for the most part when I click on that instead of the other direction. But that's okay. And it is Okinawa. And I just noticed the broken traces. That thing headed out towards Japan and somewhere out there doing something. Okay. All right. That's your R135. Now let's talk NOAA, and then we'll get into the deets about weather stuff here in a minute. But this is NOAA. They are doing some work, or they were. It looks like they have now departed, but they've been working over the last month and a half, South Africa, Cape Town. And what they're doing down there is some kind of biosphere thing, working with the locals and doing some kind of study on the land. So anyway, they've been doing it for a while. We looked at it in the past and I said, what the heck are these guys doing? We just happened to have somebody in the community that knew what they were doing and shared that information. All right. So now notice I'm going this trace down into South America. That's because the one from Africa darts across at the two closest points. And then it comes up into the United States. And then, of course, the rest of the NOAA stuff. See it over Florida, very active and busy. Now, they are located down there in Lakeland, I believe it is. So they're pretty active and busy in Florida on a regular basis. Then you get over here to California, SoCal. Notice it heads down pretty far south. But what is this little flower they made? I don't know, but it looks interesting, to say the least. All right. More than likely, this is at U2. And then notice, too, it comes out, goes up, around, out over the Pacific. Very high altitude. I don't know. Anyway, okay. So let's go back over here to the mini. Let's get into the deets of the news and what's going on. We're going to start off here with Flashbang. He is in Denver right now, and then he's headed down to Pueblo to visit a wind tower manufacturer, the largest in the world, in fact. And then, of course, he's going to, this guy's still pushing this. I don't know. Anyway, it's, maybe he's the only guy that buys in on it. Maybe, well, I say that. He's got some pretty stupid people around him, so they probably all buy in on it and just think you just keep selling the lie. It's a distraction. But dismal, right? I think even Carter's probably laughing at this one. So, okay, so he's in Denver. What he's doing in Denver, who knows? But then he heads down to Pueblo. And it does look like the Atlanta piece, at least from, it was a funeral for Jimmy Carter's wife, I guess. And all the first ladies were in attendance. I did see Flashbang in that. And I did see some footage of him taking the short stairs yet once again. So it's interesting. He's no longer heading up the tall ones, going all the way up to the top because he's taken several spills down those stairs. And so now he goes in the little side ones in the back that are real short. And yeah, anyway. All right, let's move on. Okay, let's talk what has been going on with the IRS. And I was having a conversation within the Patreon community, and I was shocked at how many people have been getting letters from the IRS saying that they didn't, either they failed to pay taxes, they needed to start paying quarterly, or they were getting hit with back tax because they were late to file when the letters were sent in that they needed an extension to file, which should waive the tax, the penalties and the interest. But the fact of the matter is they have been losing people's returns, not necessarily. When I say losing, I mean people have paid. They have a copy of the cleared check that was processed, and all of a sudden, the IRS has no record of ever cashing that check. And so this is happening a lot. And when I say a lot, I'm not talking onesie twosies in our community. I'm talking 15, 20 people that have said, yeah, that's just happened to me too. I just got these letters back to back to back. And, something is going on where they are basically coming after folks, lock, stock, and barrel, in order to get their money, which they've already gotten their money. So this is dangerous because there is a significant backlog of things being processed within the Treasury Department, okay? And so when your stuff goes in, if it's a payment, boom, it's done. They grab it, they cash it, and they don't document it. But if it's not, or if you already made a payment and you're trying to have a rebuttal, you're getting 3 or 4 letters back to back to back before they even ever see that you've got proof that you've paid. So very dangerous because this could end up having people going to debtors' prisons when they have basically obeyed the law. All right. So pay attention to this. If it's happened to you, man, sound off. I'd love to see it in the chat down below, in the comments, whatever it may be, because I think we're going to find that there are a ton of us in the community out there, we the people, that are getting hammered with this stuff. Okay. On over to the next piece. Iranian-backed hackers breached a Pennsylvania water control station and display anti-Israel messages. They're calling themselves the Cyber Avengers. And this is, it's a kind of another arm of war. I mean, it really is. It's cyber warfare. And they can very easily take out a lot of things, power grids and water systems. And oh, by the way, it doesn't stop there. Check this out. Airplanes. Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I don't travel, okay? I have shown you in the past, I tracked the Ethiopian flight that supposedly crashed, but yet continued to produce a GPS signal all the way down to Nairobi, landed, taxied, and then took a right instead of a left into the hangars instead of the terminal. So, yeah, it can happen remotely. And so they're saying that they are taking over the plane's GPS. It's really happening a lot over Israel and over the Middle East. But that's a scary thing. We've talked about it in the past around 9/11 and certain other aspects of things like MH370, right? Just weird, strange stuff that they said, yeah, it could never happen, but it does, okay? All right. This is a data point for you. Canada delays a $3.6 billion Reaper buy until drones can work in the Arctic. Now, the question is, what is going on up in the Arctic that they need Reaper drones to look at? Okay. So evidently these don't work well in cold weather conditions. I say that, but I don't buy it because let me tell you, when these things are at 60,000 feet, it's probably a negative 45 degrees up there. So, I mean, how much colder is it going to get other than, I don't know. I don't know how much colder it could get, but it must get really cold over the Arctic, a lot colder than negative 45. So, but yeah, this is, something that I guess maybe they have a wing heat issue. I don't know, but I do want to know what the heck they do out over the Arctic that is, where they need Q9 Reapers. All right. All right, let's move on. Okay, here is your NOTAM for today. Again, if we jump over here to the weather side of the house, you'll just see that this is flashbang up here. The red, I believe, means it's an active TFR. The yellow is coming online. That's just based over time, looking at all of this. And we'll get into this piece of the slop here in a little bit as we come back to it, but I'll just set it up. You can see a lot of boxes, especially over here on this side. Remember, we just saw the NOAA bird come out, run up the coast, and then back in. So out over this general area. Again, I don't know what they do in the name of science, although I have some speculation. And then look at the weather that's coming through. This is all heavy turbulence is what that is, all right? That right there is super heavy turbulence. You get over here to this side of the house. Notice there is a little bit of stuff still kind of rolling up into Ukraine and Russia, all right? And then the boxes continue to cover up over the Black Sea, out over this general area, right? Israel, etc. And then let me just double check. Yeah, it is Tunisia, but let's just see what we got going on here. And exercise scheduled. So aerial photography by drone will take place. There you have it. All right. Well, at least they're not trying to hide it. Okay. All right. We'll go down a little further south, see if we got anything. Exercises here. That is a rocket box. I mean, that's what they look like. Okay. So that's probably Starlink. Continues to be Starlink. Stuff out over Cape Town. This is an exercise box as well. Combat Flying School around that area. All right. And then this down in Cape Town itself. I don't know what that is. Just a restricted area. Gunnery. Okay. So it's a firing exercise taking place. All right. We'll back it up here. And okay. Let's move on. This is weather warfare. Okay, so Putin dealt a blow as the Russian defense positions were just washed away by a devastating storm out over the Black Sea, which is wild. Okay, Ukraine has been launching several attacks on the Crimea Peninsula, which was illegally occupied and annexed, blah, blah, blah. Who is writing this? Oh, the Express. There we go. Anyway, okay. But yeah, you can see the sea was angry that day, my friends. Let's get on down. It just talks a little bit about some of the areas that were washed out. And you can see, look at this bridge again. Wow, the bridges just aren't built well over there, are they? But this bridge continues to get taken out. And they're saying that basically compromised a lot of the defensive positions around that general region. So if you get into the Crimea side of the house, it's all around this peninsula right here, okay? All right, so that is just talking about this storm. The powerful storm Bettina ravages the Black Sea region with hurricane-force winds, severe storm surge, flooding, and snowstorms. Again, as you can see, it kind of rolling through almost like a little hurricane. 90-mile-an-hour winds. And the storm led to widespread power outages and affected over 500,000 residents, right? And had flooding and property damage. So now we go, well, how is that weather warfare? Well, let's just look at the definition. It says here, weather warfare is used. Basically, is the use of weather modification techniques. And notice what they show in the picture there. Yeah, funnel cloud. Yeah, techniques such as cloud seeding for military purposes. So I've shown you videos. Right, we showed you Mecca, Medina, and Saudi with Weather Modification LLC coming in and basically seeding that area, and then all of a sudden, super strong winds, all kinds of hail and rain, and all. I mean, just the sky opened up. Okay, so you can go back to even Vietnam. There was an Operation Popeye where they basically started cloud seeding over the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and that is, they're doing it a lot. And we've tracked the flights. We show you. We've seen NOAA putting pink stuff in the sky. We've watched chemtrails. We've watched all kinds of stuff. It's you can't deny it any longer. What they are doing to our skies. You have scientists that are coming in, and this isn't NOAA scientists; these are others that are saying, "Man, we're finding all of this aluminum in our water samples and just weird, strange stuff that shouldn't be there in certain areas." And so, yeah, this is what they do, and all they have to do is come flying in, see those clouds, and all of a sudden, just a regular little storm becomes massive. So you decide, but the fact that the Russian defense positions were taken out with this storm over the Black Sea, I just got to say, probably a little bit of weather warfare there. All right. Okay. Now let's go over here to this side. This is going to be the NATO allies vow to stay firm on arming Ukraine. This is where it gets kind of very frustrating and aggravating. Now, I will tell you, I am seeing an uptick when it comes to the activity going in and out of RZ Poland. But let's just say that they're all in. United States has provided more than $40 billion in security aid. Right now, we're at $150 billion all in, and that's just what we know about. Believe me, there's probably a lot more that we don't know about. All right. You get over here to this side, and then the EU quadruples funding for Ukraine military training. And so, yeah, they're going to start, continuing to teach them how to use our stuff, right? The M1 Abrams, they're teaching them how to fly F-16s and Eurofighters and everything else, all right? But they're now quadrupling it because the United States has basically been kind of held down with their funding currently, all right? I'm sure that'll change. But where's your money going? Check this out. Zelensky lives in luxury. Top aides acquire $75 million yachts. All right. They're saying that they believe it's his and that these belong to him. But these guys, they say that the Ukrainians are just masters at hiding their transactions and how to spend the money without it being traced. All right. You're talking hard cash, man. I mean, you can't. It's hard to put, your finger on that. The yachts are named Lucky Me and My Legacy. All right. And they're saying this guy actually owns a lot more than that. He's just purchased a $5 million property in Egypt under his mother-in-law's name. And then what else does he have? Oh, they believe it's a $35 million home in Sunny Isles Beach, Florida. So, let's get over here. Let's just take a closer look at sorry about that. Hard to get that out of your head. Yeah, baby. Yeah, look at that. Where does this guy get his money? Clearly, you get up there and dance. Oh, that's probably it right there. But nonetheless, let's go over here and take a look at the yachts. And look at these bad dudes. This is insane. They are absolutely gigantic yachts. U.S. tax dollars at work. Zelensky allegedly bought 2 yachts via proxy worth over $75 million, as reported by the Islander. The names of the yachts, add insult to injury. Again, we talked about that. Lucky Me and My Legacy. All right. Let's get back over here to the bases. We looked through this activity real fast. This is, if we look at Biggs Army Airfield, looks like we got some troop movement here. This is coming inbound from Portsmouth, but then we go up here. Notice it's headed back to Baltimore, Washington. Probably a little troop rotation. We get over here to Camber. Sorry, not Camber. Over to Dover. And notice you got the Atlas Airs coming back in. The Colettas coming in. Miami, JFK. And then notice this one is outbound as a Camber flight, 747. And then we get to Ramstein. And this one's headed out of... Oh, sorry, this is not Ramstein. This is NATO. Heading out of Eindhoven. And that's going to be your NATO boys getting airborne. And then we get to Ramstein. And you've got a 777 coming in from Baltimore, Washington. That's probably troops into Ramstein. It rolls out from there, probably headed to the Middle East. Another Camber flight. I don't know where that is headed, honestly. You got a Spar in there coming in from Brussels. Reach, very active at Ramstein. C-130. Another one, that one's headed outbound to Doha, the Middle East, 747-400, another C-130. And then we look at RZE Poland and just notice that you've got NATO in there. You've got, looks to be Royal Air Force heading down, and camber flight from Shannon. That's troops. This one coming in from Anchorage. That's going to be artillery more than likely. Another one coming in from Dover. That could be troops and or artillery, maybe some M1s. So there is an uptick. Okay, it has been dead for a while. We thought maybe we saw the end of it, but it looks like they are finding a way to continue to put quarters into the machine, so to speak. From there, that 6-7 goes down to Constanta. National Cargo, destination unknown. Atlas Air headed to Seoul, Korea from there. Let's see what else we got. That's it. All right, U.S. Transportation Command. Holy smokes. Oh, there's a lot of planes up today. Look at this, 777, 67. The 747s, those are probably carrying equipment. But these other ones, 777s, 67s, MD-11s, those are going to be troops, all right? You can just see just stacked up down here in Europe, in and out, and headed to both Egypt and the Middle East. All right, National Cargo, 747s on the move. Looks like they are headed. That one's empty coming out of Europe. So that one's headed to Anchorage. That'll be carrying some stuff maybe. Well, yeah, there's no telling because of where it's coming out of. And then that one's headed into CVG from Anchorage. And then the Brits got 4 up, all Europe, Middle East. And then Western Global coming out of Southeast Asia, Seoul, Korea. So that's carrying artillery more than likely. All right. And then let's look very quickly look at the flurry of flights headed in and out of Central America on the borders. All right. Now let's just take a look at this one quick data point for you. And that is this knucklehead. There are 12 million people in the U.S. illegally who contribute so fundamentally to our country's well-being. He said it himself, illegally, all right? He has a duty to uphold the law, and he's not doing it. When you admit that you have 12 million people in your country illegally, you are not doing your job, okay? And if you think they're fundamentally contributing to the country's well-being, hey, the only thing I can think of is that you've got an armed military coming in because they're all fighting age males, and that's how they're going to contribute. Who do you think they're going to go up against? Yeah, us, more than likely. All right, listen, that's going to do it for now, folks. We'll see you on Friday. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Stay frosty. Keep that powder dry. We'll talk soon. God bless. Monkey out. Thanks for watching, folks. You can check out the latest gear and products by selecting the QR code on your screen now or go to monkeyworksus.com.